hive cluster is under attack.
Live for the swarm.
Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today, it's going to be action and Aurelie. Again, it's the same game, just from the perspective of action this time, okay? So top side here, we've got action. Bottom left side here, we've got Aurelie, but action doesn't know that yet, right? So we're going to turn off Aurelie's vision and just do this game from the perspective of action here. All right, okay, so 500 APM here for Aurelie, 160 APM here from action. And Terry the Overlord moving out. I don't think we saw Terry the Overlord from Aurelie's perspective, but maybe we did. Maybe he got shot down by Marines. What's up, Terry? That's right, Terry. Everything is cool, right? Everything's good. You're on a jungle tile set. You like it very much. And again, maybe there's a Terry the Overlord shirt at falconpaladin.store. As of this recording, there is not. But maybe when you're watching it, there is. Okay, so a drone scout here on this 4-player map. Just, you know, just checking to make sure there's no proxying here from Aurelie. Boom. High ground. Good for tanks. And checking the top left spawn position. Nope. No command center. Okay, so turn right back around and hatch first in it. Taking a risk here, but hatching it here at 12 supply. Do we see? I feel like there was an SCV scout up here. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. So if we were paying attention, then we would see that other worker, but that doesn't necessarily tell us where the other person is. Again, high ground. And the drone scout wins the scouting race. All right, cool. So, harassing. Not a command center first play here. Very, very good. And there you go. Getting scouted by the SCV. So, extractor pool here on the way. We're droning up. Everything is all right. Drone harassing. Drone defending himself. Saturating the gas a little bit late, but the SCV was distracting. Trying to kill this SCV. That was not a good idea, because there was a Marine right there. Okay, so now we're in the dark about what the Terran player here is doing, but we know he's expanding. And other than that, I don't know. Maybe it's mech. Well, if it was mech, there would be gas taken, right? So, Lair coming up with the first 100 gas. Terror the Overlord. Heading over to the Terran position. Bum. Bum. So all's well here. I mean, Zerg player pretty happy. It hasn't hasn't had to deal with any bunker pressure at all. There haven't been like 20 Marines showing up at any point to try to kill him. It's pretty early for that, but if it was like a 2 racks, 3 racks opening without an expansion, it's entirely possible. But the expansion, you know, puts everybody to rest. Overlord checking to see what gas is being taken here by Aurelie. That's a good information to have as well. That is a good information to have. Yeah, not getting a second gas early here. Not going to be a huge investment into Mutalisks. And just heading... Man, is this your third? Is this your third base drone? My goodness. So... Yeah, I mean, is this defensible is the question. I mean, I really feel like it shouldn't be, is the thing, right? Because if you don't have Lurker aspect out, a really big thing Terran players are kind of able to do is just wander across the map, get up here to your third base, and shut it down. Especially, you know, before there's any creep there. You can't put any Sunkens up, you can't put any Niduses. I mean, you're pretty far away from Nidus anyway, but And then a bunch of Lings out from action trying to pressure, but bunkers up. SCVs get pulled to defend. Lings are like, can't really jump in there. Really invested a lot into these Lings and not really getting anything done with it, except, again, pressuring the Terran player and keeping him from moving up and shutting down the third. So, yeah, this really shouldn't work, I feel like, but it's really putting some fear of Zerg into Really. Yeah, it's really putting fear into Really, right? So Really doesn't feel like moving out with his Marines. He could probably do it. He could probably bring some SCVs for buffering, maybe actually get out there and kill some of these Marines. Head up to the third base and kill it, or kill some of these Lings and head up to the third base and kill it, right? But he just doesn't, and he allows his third base to come up for free for action, which is a really huge thing for the Zerg player. He's got 5 Mutalisks on the way. Still no second gas here from action, so probably not going to be siege tanks, probably not going to be mech, probably additional barracks being produced here. You just really need that gas if you're going to open up mech at all. So now he sees the medic tech is out here. Lings get shoved away a little bit, but then Really just goes right back home. It's just his big threat here. The big thing he's worried about is Lings running in and ravaging this mineral line. Sees the turrets coming up, says, okay, well, my mutos, go! Fly, my pretties! Let's go down and take care of that. Can we fight these turrets? Maybe. It depends on how many there are and where they are placed. Range upgrade coming in for our Terran player. We're aware of that one. And yeah, like I said, not a huge investment into mutas. There's 5 here. There's 3 more on the way. Not working on carapace upgrades. Not working on +1 attack upgrades either, though he has resources for that +1 attack anyway. He's going for a Hydralisk Den. Because once again, he needs to be able to defend this third base, and lurkers on the ramp are the best way to do that. So, yeah, he's going for lurkers, but this has been, again, a pretty passive kind of turtley opening here from Really, hasn't it been? Mutaflock, no more on the way, just getting lurker aspect, but the muta count is 9, 10. Yeah, 10's pretty good. These Marines have the range upgrade now, and he can tell that just by the distance they're being able to shoot him from. So he's got Lings trying to jump on any Marines that come up this way. He's got this area covered too, so he's just making sure that really he's not going to sneak out anywhere. Got Overlord to make sure there's not a dropship heading over that direction either. So Action's doing really well with the map vision. And yeah, I mean, his third base is up and running. He's got that third extractor rolling, which is very, very good stuff for him. Just a little bit late on the extractor, but he did spend a bunch of resources trying to get these mutas up. He's going to take down both of these turrets. Couple SCVs, but he's deep into Terran territory right now, and that is not good. He loses 2 mutas almost immediately. Another one goes down here. He does wipe out this group of Marines, but then the reinforcements come in on the left side. Missile turret wipes, yeah, another one out. There's a very injured Mutalisk here. There's a couple of them very close to death. Not what you want to see from your Mutaflock at all, but the Terran player hasn't really moved out at all. And you got to be feeling pretty good about this if you're Action, right? So he's got a Queen's Nest up. He's upgrading to a Hive now at 8 minutes. Maybe expanding here would not be a bad idea. I mean, that is... Yeah, I mean, that's not even the natural base for that spawn location. That's just a random third you can take that's... would be your 4th in particular. So that's great. So, I mean, this is... You just got to be feeling pretty good about this if you're Action, you know? Lings soften up these Marines. Mutas come in, finish the rest of them off. Don't even lose a Mutalisk in that engagement, although one of them's very, very low. That was a single-digit HP Mutalisk. Not great. Not exactly what we're looking for here, is it? No, but we've got our Lurker Tech out now at 9 minutes. It was delayed, but he didn't really need it because really hasn't moved out by any stretch. I'd love to see a 4th now from Action. I just would. He's kind of got map control with these Mutalisks and these Zerglings. He's got Lurkers out. He can defend his bases from incoming attacks from the Terran. Getting a 4th base would be massive because he knows the Terran doesn't have a 3rd. Right? He's Overlord scouting this area. He's covering this area. He's checking this left side base too. He knows. He knows there's not a 3rd base. There's a handful of Marines out here, but they're not going to jump into this. That's insane. He didn't even have to get Sunkens up because there was no early pressure from Really here at all. But just no sign of a fourth. None whatsoever. He's teching fast into Defiler tech. But maybe that's something he doesn't need to do. Maybe it'd be better to spend those resources, bam, on a fourth base. You know, then go into Defiler techs and stuff, because you haven't seen any science vessels yet. So you don't have to worry about that. The current tech for really can't kill you. Especially with the number of lurkers here. So it's 10 minutes and there's no fourth base. Third base was nice. But I think a fourth base here from Action at this stage of the game would have really helped him ramp up an economy and get to a point where he would have been able to just kind of steamroll here against Really, just hurtling on the two bases. He's a little bit late on his science vessel tech. He's a little bit late on his radiate. Not that Action knows that necessarily. But like, we're 10 minutes into this thing, and he doesn't see a single science vessel. He hasn't seen a single irradiate come down on his stuff. So maybe he's over-defending. That's 11 lurkers. Like, if Really just went for it, he would die so hard. It's probably over-defending right here, if I had to characterize what's going on here from Action. But again, he's got map vision. This Overlord stuff is great. I mean, it might even be worth producing a single Wraith and just kind of Overlord hunting here for Really, because the map vision for the Zerg player is impeccable. And I just keep waiting for him to get another base, and he's just not doing it. He sees this group just, hanging out. It's just been a very passive Really. He's been defending and turtling, and then he contains. He's not really making any super aggressive moves here. Fourth base now coming up. Okay, so he's taking the fourth now at 11:40. I don't know. He's got the resources to go for another one here. I guess he just worried he can't defend it, but like, send half of the lurkers, put them on this ramp, and this base is defended. You're good to go. You know, you're at this point even. You're good to go. You've got Defilers out. You've researched Consume. You're working on Overlord transport, melee attack upgrades. The Overlord sees there's a third base for the Terran now, but you've got your fourth base on the way, so that's nice. And there's an Irradiate. So now you know Irradiate is here. So Lings come out to see what they're dealing with exactly. And, okay, no science vessels. Overlord sacrifices himself to see what's going on. No siege tanks, no science vessels. Just Marines and medics here. No, an attack does try to push in. I mean, it's not fair to characterize Really as not being aggressive here, because he has been, but every time he tries, Action's Dark Swarm has just been, just been right on time, right popped. Marines can't do anything about this. They're not going to attack into that position. What are they, suicidal? No, of course not. But we're working on kindness. Plating on our Ultralisk Cavern is up at 12 minutes. I mean, very happy stuff here from Action. Tech-wise, hasn't really been bothered at all today. Adrenal glands coming in, plague getting researched. I mean, everything is very happy here from Action. We've got spores at the front in case science vessels try to get too close. They'll take some hits anyway. And yeah, Scourge patrolling to see if there's any drops coming at him, but nothing really seems to be causing any problems there. And I'm just, again, the Overlord spread here is just amazing. It's really good and really isn't doing a lot to try to shut it down at all. And if you're Action, maybe you're just lulled into a sense of confidence here. Again, there's a third base, but that's okay. We can let that roll. Ling checking to see if that Marine group is still out there. He still knows these dudes are here. Yeah, is that vision being provided by this Sunken? That's crazy outside of the creep vision. It's not something we see a lot, right? Without the one perspective plays. So now we hear the Dropper Lords being loaded up. So there's going to be a drop, which you may be aware of if you watch the other player perspective in this match. Yeah, is he saving this? Is he like, it's a lot harder to hold the bases down towards the southern section of the map, so, I want to see if this dropship dies. See, that Scourge dies. Dropship is alive, and then I kind of lose track of it as these lurkers are dealing terrible damage. Okay, it looked like the dropship does escape back home. Yeah, this poor group of Marines, just all sorts of dies here. The Scourge, Scourge chasing, though. Chasing. Looking for... There's that dropship. They see it. They've got it in their sights, but then they stop because they lose it in the fog of war. Okay, so dropship does make it home. That's nice. That's wonderful. And yeah, science vessel count here is nuts. The Scourge are out of position to deal with this. There's a couple down here. Maybe could have got a kill off there, but as it stands, Defiler's just getting irradiated. Lurker's getting exploded out of the ground with the power of irradiation. But working on anabolic synthesis back home, Ultralisks, we're moving out with a big group of Adrenalings with all sorts of +1 attack and +2 armor on those guys. And again, bam, the Dark Swarm is just so well placed. Scourge not doing great. A ton more Marines show up here. Overlord scouts and sees the 4th base is up from Really, but he's just kind of more focused on dealing with the huge number of Marines here in the middle of the map. Does that Dark Swarm provide vision? No. Okay. And then, oh no! My attempt at a 5th base is getting shut down by these Marines with already +2 attack, +2 armor, stim, range. Mean stuff. So yeah, he ends up losing that. Doesn't really have an army in position to deal with it because this whole group is threatening him, keeping him away from defending it. So that was a great play from Really. High ground getting held. No, not at all, says Action. Shuts that down quite nicely. And yeah, so we're 4-basing as a Zerg player against a 4-basing Terran. Not great. Not great, Bob. Not at all. And then the Fire Bats have been added to the mix here. The Lings are not going to do as well, but there's Ultralisk in production, so we're going to be okay with that, says Action. I don't know. At this stage, I would have expanded here. I'd have been like, okay, this is not great. I was trying to get some of these bases along the sides. Not going well for me at all. The pressure to contain here is bad, but I can defend this. I can absolutely defend this. The fact that he's not taking it, I feel like, is a mistake. He's trying to expand down this way. Again, bad things happening. And the Ultralisks using a Nidus Canal transport to go where? Not here. What the heck? Where's the other end of that Nidus Canal? Yeah, and sure, maybe Really managed to sneak up here, but I do feel like it's defensible. Look at this giant army. Ah, everything is getting irradiated. Quick attack. Nope, everything died. This even got irradiated. Okay, so this base is really scary to take. There's a Fire Bat up here. We will avenge you, drone. But just not expanding up here at all. He's got 500 minerals in the bank. And he's just not choosing to go for it whatsoever. And I just don't understand. Don't understand the choices being made here at all. Okay, good play getting tossed down on those science vessels. This base gets canceled. So yeah, at this point, I don't just take it, man. You're on a 4-base to a 4-basing Terran, and you could see these factories. Okay, you do have vision on tanks popping out. A little bit of vision of tanks popping out, but not a ton of information on what's going on over here. Ah, crap. Try to expand up this way again. No, it's being denied by Really again. So Really just kind of defending, right? I have to attack into him. He's not doing a whole lot of attacking into me, but again, that's because the Dark Swarm placement and Plagues have been really good. If you're, you know, full-on charging into a Zerg encampment and emplacement and you get Dark Swarm topped and then Plague popped, you're like, ow, okay. We're not charging anymore. Oh, these guys just wander into their deaths. That's a good win. A good win for Action here. And again, this big attack over here on this right side base gets a beautiful Dark Swarm up. But there's nothing to kill the command center. So sure, some of these SCVs are going to die. This Ultra gets dragged out of the Dark Swarm and probably should have just stayed up here. Yeah, that's just a micro concern for Action. Stay inside the Dark Swarm. Kill those SCVs. They should not have been able to go back to work as soon as they did. That would have been a big deal. Finally, at 19 minutes, he expands up here to this 11 o'clock position to get a 5th base. But by this point, the Terran's already on 5 bases. This is his 5th. now it's got his vision a little bit here, right? Vision. These overlords are allowed to live over here in the 4th base of really, for some reason, I don't fully understand. Not sure what that's about, but here comes the drop, right? So at this point, he's like, okay, coming across the ground here is not something I want to do. So let's come through here, make sure there's no vision here, right? No vision here. We're going to chase these Marines away in case they get any ideas of seeing these overlords coming on in. There's a huge push from really coming up the middle side there. And then just drop on in. No big deal. Just drop like 4 Ultralisks and a ton of Cracklings right on that main base. Beautiful stuff. And meanwhile, siege tanks are here. Marines are here trying to hold this high ground position. Not something that Action is interested in allowing to happen at all. But in the meantime, really is trying to deal with these Ultralisks down here and just not having a good time. Straight up having a bad time here. He's got a Defiler. He never threw down a Dark Swarm, which I think would have been amazing to have here. That's a mistake from Action as well. Yeah, the Defiler just didn't get another consume off. So finally clearing those guys out. High ground, Scourge, nice connections there. Man, just shooting them down. So good as a Terran player. That's a great feeling to kill Scourge. They're trying to kill your science vessels. Link him up to see what we're dealing with. And there's a couple tanks back here. Lurker Dark Swarm gets a Plague down basically inside the Fog of War. That's a sick play. And now he sees the results of his Plague. Oh, and there we go. That's that Spore Crawler shot. Bam. Science Vessel down. Scourge connected. Got 1. Got 2. That's big. We're trading. Lurkers are dying here. Science Vessels are dying here. Back and forth all over the place. But the big problem here for really is it hasn't been able to kill this base or this base or this base. It's been a problem. And now we can't let these tanks be up here. So he's coming around from the backside and from the front side. Surrounds are always good in StarCraft. Surrounds are way better than coming from one direction at the same time. Great positioning here outside of the Dark Swarm for his Marines. He's getting as much value out of these Marines as he can. Considering he's fighting Ultralisks, not great, but how much Ultralisk blood is spilled in this area? It's like 6 or 7 Ultralisks that died right here. There's a couple back here. Insane. Like absolute. That's another Ultra down, and I think that's going to be it for Ultra deaths. As Action spilled a lot of his own blood and a lot of Terran blood to take this high ground away. And that's okay. Really just keeps macroing behind it, producing 4 tanks at a time, working on vehicle upgrades, trying to expand down this left side as Action. I'm really surprised he didn't go for this one. I guess he just tried. Lost it again to an attack that I think I missed both times that I cast this game. Well, that's not great. Sees a scan coming in, and he's like, well, this base is not happy. Yeah, this is a big one. I mean, this is 4, 5, 6 Ultras, a bunch of Lings here. Good positioning by Really, though. And this Dark Swarm, then this Dark Swarm, and the third Dark Swarm, huge. Scourge not really connecting. They got 1. Not really the connections they wanted there at all. And then just peeling off to this third base was a brilliant idea from Action. Because everything's entrenched down this way. They can't easily respond to, oh, there's 3, 4 Ultralisks inside my third base causing all sorts of problems. Do we want to irradiate these? Apparently we did. Not really getting hits off on the science, the SCVs here. There you go. This guy is. This guy's getting a ton of biological damage output. Excellent. Very good stuff. I'm not sure whether Marines left that bunker temporarily. Was that a microchip or what? But at this stage, I feel like Action, he's massing well. He's spending his cash. He just needs to send this somewhere. Maybe head it over to that 5th base, get into the 4th base, although he sees how, okay, he sees how many tanks there are. I didn't see how many tanks there were when I was casting this originally, but he's got an Overlord right there. Really, he's not even hiding it from him. He's just like, yo, I'm making 27 siege tanks. What are you going to do about it? And since the group left, I guess he wants to... This is a pretty good engagement. Catching unsieged siege tanks. Just blowing them out. That's pretty good stuff. Coming up this ramp is probably a bad idea. And then there's probably more stuff up here than you were expecting. Yeah, middle of the map engagements for Zerg are not exactly what they want to do. They're way more effective. A couple more science vessels go down. Attacking at bases. We know that. Throw up a Dark Swarm at a base, Ling Ultras show up, it's a bad time. And now the tanks move out, and it's like, oh, okay, these aren't sieged up. We can wipe them out, and then both Ultras die, and it's like, ow. Okay, well, those tanks tried. They thought about it, they tried, and they failed. And then Action, again, just really trying to get more bases than his Terran opponent. Not able to do it. This base is toast. He does have this upper right base. Finally, I mean, nothing's mining from it here at 26 minutes, and it needed to be. Coming in the backside, great plague again. Not actually seeing as many plagues from the Zerg perspective, are we? Interestingly enough. This one Ling wants to kill a tank so bad. No, he doesn't get it. Defensive Matrix siege tank survives thanks to his friends. Very nice stuff there. Yeah, so at this stage, he needs to be mining way more over here. He's happily got a bunch of bases mining, but he's just on even base count with his Terran opponent. And he just needs more. He needs to have more than that. Yeah, he's doing everything he needs to do. It's Scourge, it's Lings, it's Ultras, it's Defilers. It's just the larger problem is that siege tank count gets super insanely high, and then suddenly you're basically dealing with Mac. Yeah, running those Lings into that situation is not great, but getting a sick plague up and then preventing the retreat by flanking around Action, that's a great play. That's a really disgusting play. It's just really always has another 20 Marines popping out of the shadows, man. Where do they come from? Nobody knows. They come from him producing 5 Marines and 3 tanks and 3 medics at a time. Another sick plague goes down. Again, Action spellcasting today was probably good enough to win. It's just that he didn't quite have the macro to keep up with what really was doing here. Oh, and here it is. Tank, tank, tank. He sees this a little bit too late, I think. There's already tanks sieged, and then, okay. And then everything coming up this ramp is just getting blown to Kingdom Come here. Mutalisk. Nope. These have all been repaired from their plague. Not good times, and now you can't even tell how many tanks are up here. It's not good. But that Ultra runs in dead. Bottom of the ramp. Doesn't even approach getting up the ramp at all. Trying to flank her on the left side. No, too much Terran here as well. That's horrible. Yeah, and then just irradiating an Ultralisk, you see, irradiating a Defiler. As soon as, you know, it's ready to do something, it's going to die. It's up here killing Lings that are coming out of the Nidus, trying to defend this position. And yeah, this is the beginning of the end, man. Just too many tanks. He does drop, okay, he drops an Ultralisk up here. I don't know if I caught that, but it was only one Ultra, and would have been more effective if that had been more, but it did force the unsiege of the other tanks. So maybe he thought he could get some more traction on the front by doing that, but not so much, no. Siege tank count is just too high. Yeah, I mean, this is the sound of 18 siege tanks firing with +3 attack and Ultras approaching and just getting obliterated. Because that's what happens to Ultras when they approach that many siege tanks. Even if they have full upgrades, it's not enough. Their armor does not protect them from this serious, you know, 80 damage per shot each one of these tanks is doing. This is, well, not the newest source of income, actually. This is the newest source of income. But losing that base is bad, and that's a GG. So yeah, just again, such a methodical game from Really. And I do think Action's biggest problems were not really attacking bases as much as he could. I don't think he got a single, like this Dark Swarm on this base. That's the only time he did it. He didn't get a single Dark Swarm on a base. Otherwise, it was all defensive Dark Swarms, middle of the map Dark Swarms, which are not nearly as good as a Dark Swarm on your base. What are you going to do about that, you know? That's where stuff gets really tough for the Terran player. And then this Siege Tank thing, he knew it. Again, I love that Really doesn't shoot down this Overlord at any point in this game. He's like, you could see how many tanks I'm making. Good luck. And Action just can't handle it. I mean, not many Zerg players can. Yeah, just the weird transition into mech there from Really. What an absolutely, yeah, just a sick decision to make a bunch of siege tanks against these ultras. No vultures, no spider mines, just siege tanks. And keep making your marines and your science vessels and call it a day. Good. So good. Like truly, truly impressive stuff there from Really, man. And again, just methodical. You didn't really blitz bases quickly. I mean, he'd find a base, kind of let it hang around for a while, then come in and kill it. He let these two bases on the left side live pretty much the whole game. He pressured a little bit, but not a ton. He did cancel this base once and twice, I think, but let it live too. So didn't kill a ton of hatcheries. Just slow, patient, methodical. Gets the win. So yeah, 243,000 points from the Zerg, 220 from the Terran, 220 from the Zerg. Structures raised, and then the outspending here. Just not enough for a 30-minute game, right? Action needed to expand quicker, be a little bit more aggressive with his attacks and his Dark Swarms, kind of keep the pressure on the Terran player at least a little bit, and then get it done. So yeah, well done, Really. Action made some mistakes, and that was going to be enough to get him the loss today. So that is going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.